Hello, good evening, everyone. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Give me a minute, guys. Let me set up everything. Then we will start. Yeah, okay. So, how you doing, everyone? Steve Bajabi, and we have one
Yes,
more student, Samiksha. Yeah. So, how you guys?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir.
Okay. So, my name is Imran Siddiqui, and I'll be teaching you economics. So, first of all, before starting anything, I just wanted to know whether you have already studied something in economics or not. Let's start with Mejabi. So, Mejabi, have you studied anything in economics till now?
yes, sir.
Uh, Please tell me what topics you have already studied.
Uh, Chapter 1, we have studied introduction.
Okay, you have already covered introduction of microeconomics, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Samiksha, what about you?
We have started statistics for economics.
Statistics. Okay, all right. And Steve,
We have studied, I was learning collection of data for the exam, sir.
Acha, you were studying correct collection of data. Oh, all right. Oh, okay, fine. We will be starting our first chapter from microeconomics. That will be introduction to microeconomics, right? And we will be in today's class we will be discussing specifically, particularly about production possibility curve. All right. So let's start. Uh, Give me a minute. Okay. So first of all, I'll be discussing about what is a production possibility curve. So anyone of you have any idea about what is a production possibility curve? Do you guys have any idea about what is production possibility curve? Okay, no problem. So basically, production possibility curve is a graph. It is a graphical representation that shows different combination of two goods that a producer can produce using available resources and technology. See, producer have certain resources available with him, and he wants to produce two commodities. Under production possibility curve, we basically present various different combinations that a producer will be able to produce using available resources and technology he have. So before explaining the formal definition of production possibility curve, let me explain you what is a production possibility curve through an example. Give me a minute. Okay. Yeah. See, we will start understanding what is a production possibility curve through a small example. First of all, let's assume there is a producer, and a producer, his name is Mr. X. Mr. X is basically a farmer. Suppose he's a farmer, and Mr. X have certain resources with him. Resources basically means all those things which he will be using for the purpose of production. So because Mr. X is a farmer, so he have resources such as land, he have labor, and he have few machines which he will be using for production purpose, right? Then uh, he wants to produce two kind of goods. Suppose he wants to produce wheat and wheat and sugar cane, wheat and sugar cane from his resources. So there is a producer, Mr. X, who is a farmer, and he wants to produce two kind of goods, wheat and sugarcane, using the available resources, which are land, labor, and machine. So let me give you a quick idea that suppose he have this amount of land available with him. Suppose this is the area of land which is available with Mr. X for producing good wheat and sugarcane. And the capacity of this land is around, if he wants to produce wheat on this land, he will be able to produce, suppose 15 tons of wheat on this particular land. And if he want to produce sugarcane using all of his resources, then he will be able to produce 5 tons of sugarcane. This is the amount of area. And if he want to use this entire area for the production of wheat only, then he will be able to produce 15 tons of wheat on this particular amount of land. And if he uses all of his resources for the purpose of production of sugarcane, then he will be able to produce 5 tons of sugarcane on this land, right? Now, what happens is that he is currently using all of his resources for the production of wheat only. So can any one of you can tell me how many units he will be able to produce using all of his resources if he dedicate all of his resources for the production of wheat? Can any one of you please tell me how many units or how many tons of wheat he will be able to produce if he dedicates all of his resources for the production of wheat only?
1.5 ton.
1.5 ton. This is 15 ton. Sorry, this is 15 ton. So basically he will be able to produce 15 tons of wheat if he dedicate all of his resources for the production of wheat only. But in that case, he will not be able to produce any quantity of sugar cane, right?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the option number 1. This is combination first that he can produce. This is combination A. But now this farmer wants to increase the production of sugarcane. Now he want to raise the crops of sugarcane on his field also. Now, if he wants to increase the production of sugarcane, suppose he wants to produce 1 ton of sugarcane. In that case, he will be dividing the land for the purpose of sugarcane also. Now sugarcane will be produced in this particular field. Now labor will be allocated for the production of sugarcane. Now now machines will also be allocated to the for the production of sugarcane, right? And certain amount of area will be reserved for the production of sugarcane. Hence now less resources will be available for the production of wheat. So when resources are allocated for the production of sugarcane will increase. But at the same time, production of wheat will decline. Production of wheat goes to 14 tons. You know why? Because now producer is having less resources available for the production of wheat. Correct? So if you want to increase the production of sugarcane by 1 more ton, then now less land will be available for the production of wheat. Less number of labor will be available for the production of wheat. Less machine will be available for the production of wheat. Now he will be able to produce less quantity of wheat. You're getting my point? Basically, if the producer wants to increase the production of sugarcane, then he will have to sacrifice certain number unit of wheats. He cannot increase the quantity of sugarcane without reducing the quantity of wheat, because he have limited amount of resources available with him. If he wants to increase the production of one commodity, he will have to sacrifice certain number of units of the other commodity, considering the resources are limited with him. So suppose he wants to increase the production of sugarcane by 1 more unit, then more amount of land will be reserved for the production of sugarcane. Less will be available for the production of wheat. Hence, production of wheat will decline again 9 tons, and this will increase 3 tons. E and F. Suppose he wants to increase the production to 4 tons. Now he will only be able to produce 5 tons of wheat. And if he produces 5 tons of sugarcane, then the entire land will be reserved for the production of sugarcane, and no land will be available for the production of wheat. Hence, production of wheat will decline to 0. Let me explain you again. We have started this example considering that there is a producer, Mr. X. He is a farmer and he wants to produce 2 goods, wheat and sugarcane, and he have this amount of resource available with him. Suppose he have land, labor, and machines. So what we are doing, we are basically identifying various combinations that in which he can produce 2 goods. First combination is that he can produce he can use all of his resources for the production of wheat only. In that case, he will be able to produce 15 tons of wheat, but 0 tons of sugarcane. Now he wants to increase the production of sugarcane. So as he increases the production of sugarcane, you will see that there is a decline in the production of wheat. Why this is happening? Because less resources is now available for the production of wheat. As the production of sugarcane increases, resources will be allocated for the production of sugarcane as well. Now less amount of sugarcane will be available for the production of wheat. Hence, production of wheat will decline continuously. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear? Please let me know. Is it clear, Samiksha, Mehjabi, Steve?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So one thing that you can clearly notice here is that producer is increasing the production of one commodity, and for that purpose he have to sacrifice certain number of unit for the other commodity because he have limitation of resources. Okay, so there is one more column. This is called marginal opportunity cost. I will explain this later, but first of all, let us draw a diagram on the basis of this table. See, suppose this is a x-axis, as you already know. This is a y-axis, right? Suppose we take the commodity, let's say commodity of sugarcane, quantity of sugarcane on the x-axis and wheat on the y-axis, right? Maximum value of sugarcane is 5 tons starting from 0. So we can plot the various values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. And wheat is going up to 15 units and starting from 0. So we can take the difference of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. Okay. Now we have to plot various combination that we have drawn on this table. So first combination is 15 and 0. 15 tons of wheat and 0 tons of sugarcane. How we can plot this combination? We will plot this combination like this. First combination is 15 and 0, 15 tons of wheat and 0 tons of sugarcane. So this will be the first combination, 0 tons of sugarcane and 15 tons of wheat. This is the first combination. Next combination is 1 ton of sugarcane and 14 tons of wheat. So this will be the second combination. We will draw this combination like this. This is combination B, 1 and 14. Next combination C is 2 and 12. This is 12 and this is 2. Combination C, 2 and 12, right? Then combination D is 3 and 9. 3 and 9. 9 will be somewhere after 8. Suppose 9 will fall here. and we can draw this combination like this: 3 and 9, combination D, 3 and 9. Okay, then we will draw combination E, 4 and 5. Okay, 5 will be somewhere here. Okay, and this is combination E, 5, 4 and 5, and there is last combination 5 and 0. So this is E combination, F combination, sorry, this is F combination, 5 and 0. So we will connect all these combination through a line. So if we connect all these combination through a line, it will make a line something like this. This line is basically called production. This line is basically called production possibility curve. This is called production possibility curve. And if we have to explain what is a production possibility curve, we can say that production possibility curve is a graph, right? It is a graph. What does this show? This graph basically shows different combination of two goods. This graph basically shows different combinations of two goods that a producer can produce using available resources. Basically this graph is basically showing what are the various combination of two goods that a producer will be able to produce using available resources and technology, right? These are the various combinations. Suppose a producer is having land, labor and capital, land, labor and machine. He can produce sugarcane and wheat in the combination of A, B, C, D, E and F combination, right? So basically interconnecting these combination through a straight line, makes a graph. This graph is basically called production possibility curve. And if we have to explain what is a production possibility curve, we can clearly say that production possibility curve is basically a line, is basically a graph that shows different combination of two goods that a producer will be able to produce using available resources and technology that he is having at a particular point of time. Is it clear, everyone? Samiksha, Steve and Majabi, is it clear to everyone? Do I have to explain
Yes.
anything?
Can you show the last that flowchart you just drew?
Yeah, right. Just a minute. This is the diagram.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me explain this concept through PowerPoint. Okay, this is our definition of production possibility curve. Now it will be more clear to you, I think. Let's read it. Definition is production possibility curve is a graphical representation that showing various combination of two goods that a producer can produce using limited resources and technology. Clear? Okay. Now, production possibility curve is also known as production possibility boundary. It is also known as transformation curve, and it is also known as production possibility frontier. These are various names of production possibility curve. We can either call production possibility curve as production possibility boundary, transformation curve, or production possibility frontier. So these are all of these are same thing. Yeah, okay, hello. Sorry guys, there was some technical problem. I think my internet have some issues. Okay, let's start it again. So I was saying that production possibility curve shows the maximum capacity of a producer. So considering this graph, please tell me, if a producer uses all of his resources, land, labor, and everything else for the production of sugarcane only, then can you please tell me how many units he'll be able to produce? He will be able to produce 5 tons of sugarcane if he uses all of his resources for the production of sugarcane only. And if he allocate all of the resources for the production of wheat, then I think he will be able to produce 15 tons of sugarcane, 15 tons of wheat, sorry. So basically, what this graph is showing, that producer can produce maximum of 5 tons of sugarcane, right? He can produce 5 tons of sugarcane maximum, or he can produce maximum 15 tons of wheat, 15 tons of wheat. So considering that, we basically call production possibility curve shows maximum capacity of a producer, maximum capacity of a producer. A producer can maximum produce 5 tons of sugarcane or 15 tons of wheat. This is the maximum value of both the goods that he'll be able to produce. Or if he do not want to produce 15 tons of wheat and 5 tons of sugarcane, then he can choose any combination falling between 5 and 15. He can choose combination A, combination B, combination C, combination D. All those combination must fall within this capacity, either 15 tons of sugarcane or 5 tons of either 15 tons of wheat and 5 tons of sugarcane, or any combination lying between 15 and 5. But a producer cannot go beyond his capacity. He cannot produce 16 tons of wheat or 10 tons of sugarcane. He will not be able to produce such quantity of output because he have limited amount of resources available with him. Are you guys getting my point? So basically what I'm trying to say here is that production possibility curve shows the maximum capacity of a producer to produce two goods. He cannot produce any combination of good that goes beyond the production possibility curve. Suppose, let me take one more example to clear it a little bit more. Suppose this is a production possibility curve. This is a production possibility curve. Suppose this is production possibility curve AB, and it is indicating the maximum quantity that a producer will be able to produce for sugarcane and maximum quantity of wheat that he'll be able to produce. Suppose he have decided to produce this combination of two goods. Suppose he's saying that he will be producing this much of wheat and this much of sugarcane, and he will be choosing, suppose he is choosing C combination. We have named this combination C combination, that contains 10 units of wheat and say, for example, 3 units of sugarcane. So he wants to produce 10 tons of wheat and 3 tons of sugarcane. Clear? So because this combination is exactly on the production possibility curve, we can say that producer can produce in this combination. He will be able to produce this combination of two goods because this combination is exactly lying on the capacity line of the producer. This line is basically a capacity line of line for a producer. And if suppose producer wants to produce this much quantity of two goods, suppose he wants to produce 6 tons of wheat and 2 tons of sugarcane. Suppose we have named this combination D. So in combination D, he wants to produce 6 tons of wheat and 3 tons of sugarcane, 2 tons of sugarcane. Please tell me whether he will be able to produce such quantity, such combination of two good or not. Answer is yes, because this combination is within the capacity of the producer. If this line is capacity, if this line indicate the capacity of a producer, then this combination is lying within the capacity of the producer, which means producer is able to produce this combination. He have the available resources for producing this combination. But suppose he wants to go beyond this capacity line, beyond the production possibility curve. He wants to produce this combination of two goods. He wants to produce, say for example, 8 tons of wheat and 6 tons of sugarcane. And we name it this combination F combination. So in the F combination, he wants to produce 8 tons of wheat and 6 tons of sugarcane. Because this combination is going beyond the production possibility curve, then we will say that producer will not be able to produce this combination because of the limitation of the resources. He do not have enough resources for producing combination F. Everyone, please tell me, is it clear or not? Are you guys getting my point or not? Do I have to explain anything? Okay, Mahjabi, okay, right, you have got my point. Samiksha, please tell me. And Steve, do you have
I
any
understood.
Okay, thank you. So all those combination that exactly lies on the production possibility curve, or any combination that falls within the production possibility curve, we call those combination attainable combinations. Attainable combinations. Attainable combinations basically means achievable combination. Any combination of two goods that a producer would be able to produce using his resources and technology, all those combinations will be called attainable combination. And what are the attainable combination? Attainable combinations exactly means combination that lies on the PPC, any combination that falls on the PPC, or any combination that falls within the PPC, within the production possibility curve. All those combinations are called attainable combination. But any combination that goes beyond the production possibility curve is known as unattainable combination. Unattainable combination basically means combination that falls beyond the production possibility curve. This combination is unattainable or unachievable because of the limitation of resources, because producer do not have enough resources. Limitation of resource, right? Okay, let's continue with the slide. So see, second point was production possibility curve shows the maximum capacity of an economy to produce goods and services, right? Next point is an economy cannot operate beyond the PPC, right? This is what I have told you just now. Okay, an economy can only operate within the production possibility or on the production possibility. Any combination that goes beyond the production possibility is unoperatable or unachievable or unattainable, correct? See, we have also taken this example on the PowerPoint. Suppose we have the various combination A, B, C, D, E, and F, and producer in the combination A, you can see that producer is only producing rice, correct? 15 tons of or 15 quintals of rice, which basically means that producer right now is allocating all of his resources for the production of rice only. He's using all the land, all the labor, and all the capital for the production of rice only. He's not using any resource for the production of wheat right now, but he wants to increase the production of wheat to 1 quintal. So in order to increase the production of wheat to 1, he will have to sacrifice certain number of unit of the commodity Y, basically rice. Then if he want to increase the production of wheat by 1 more unit, 2 units, so eventually he will have to sacrifice more number of units. As he increases the production of wheat, he will have to sacrifice certain number of units. So one thing that you are able to notice here is that we are increasing the production of one commodity, we are decreasing the quantity of the other commodity because of the limitation of resources. One thing that I want to tell you here is that quantity of one commodity that producer is sacrificing every time in order to increase the production of wheat is known as marginal opportunity cost. any quantity, yeah, number of units that rice is number of unit that a producer is sacrificing for increasing the production of the other commodity is called marginal opportunity cost. Give me a minute. I'll explain this point on the notebook. See, we have taken this example earlier where producer is producing wheat and sugarcane. So initially he was producing 15 tons of wheat and 0 tons of sugarcane. Now he wants to increase the production of sugarcane by 1 unit. Then he is sacrificing how many units of wheat? If he is increasing 1 ton of sugarcane, how many units he is sacrificing for wheat? 1 ton. So 1 is sacrificed for increasing 1. Next time he is increasing sugarcane by 1 more ton. He is going from 1 to 2. But he is sacrificing how many units in case of wheat? He's sacrificing this time, he's sacrificing 2 units for wheat. So in this case, he is sacrificing 2 units for one commodity, 1 unit of sugarcane. Next time he is sacrificing 3 unit for 1. Then he is sacrificing 4 for 1 and 5:1. Every time he want to increase the production of sugarcane, he will have to sacrifice more number of unit for commodity Y. More number of unit for commodity Y. Any quantity, a number of quantity that sugarcane needs to be sacrificed in order to quantity that a producer needs to sacrifice in order to increase the production of the other commodity by 1 unit is known as marginal opportunity cost. You're getting my point? If a producer wants to increase the production of one commodity by 1 unit, he have to sacrifice some units of the other commodity. Number of units that he's sacrificing for the other commodity is known as marginal opportunity cost. So initially he's sacrificing 1 for 1, so marginal opportunity cost was 1:1. Then he was sacrificing 2 for 1, then marginal opportunity cost was 2:1, then 3:1, then 4:1, and then 5:1. Clear? So basically, this is much easier to for you to understand that he is increasing the production of one commodity, and he have to sacrifice certain number of units of the other commodity because of the limitation of resource. But why producer is sacrificing more number of units every time? This I will tell you a while later. You have to wait to understand this concept. What is why producer is basically increasing or sacrificing more number of unit every time in order to increase the production of other commodity by 1 unit. Why marginal opportunity cost is basically increasing, I will tell you this after some time. So let's proceed with the slide. See, on the basis of this table, we can draw this diagram of production possibility curve. We have taken the A combination, B combination, C combination, D combination, and E combination, and connected all these combinations through a line which form a concave shape curve. This is basically called production possibility curve. Okay. Now, production possibility curve. There are certain assumptions of. So let's first complete attainable and unattainable combinations. What are attainable combination? Attainable combination means all those combination that falls within the PPC or on the PPC. So this combination, suppose this combination F, because this is falling within the production possibility curve, we will call it attainable combination. So look at the definition. Any combination of two goods within the production possibility curve is called attainable combination. It indicate that resources are not fully efficiently utilized. Any combination that is falling within the PPC indicate that producer is not using the resources efficiently. You know why? Because suppose this is the production possibility curve, so this line basically indicate the maximum capacity of a producer. So using all of his resources, producer can reach this point. Any combination on this particular line, producer is able to reach this point, right? But if a producer is operating within the production possibility curve, this basically means producer is not utilizing his resources efficiently or effectively. He has the capacity to reach this point. He has the capacity to reach the production possibility curve, but he is operating within the production possibility curve, shows that producer is not utilizing his resources fully and efficiently. Correct? And unattainable combination, any combination that falls beyond the production possibility curve are known as unattainable combination. So in this case, suppose combination H, because this combination is falling beyond the production possibility curve, indicate that producer do not have enough resources to produce this combination of two goods. Hence, this combination will be known as unattainable combination. Okay. Now we will proceed to the next slide. Now we will discuss the various assumptions of production possibility curve. See, whenever we discuss the production possibility curve, there are certain assumptions, there are certain presumptions that we follows. First of all, first presumption is that whenever we discuss the production possibility curve, we will only consider that producer is only producing two goods. See, this is not practical. Practically, if a producer have certain amount of resources with him, suppose a producer is having land, labor, capital, machinery, then he can choose any combination. He can produce any number of goods. A producer can practically produce wheat, rice, sugarcane, tomato, onions, potato. He can produce any good that he wants to produce, any number of goods that he wants to produce on his field. But while discussing the production possibility curve, we will only consider that producer can produce only two goods. Can any one of you please tell me why producer can produce only two goods? Why we have assumed that producer will be able to produce only two goods? Can any one of you can tell me, Mehjabi, Samiksha, or Steve? Why producer can produce only two? Why we have assumed that producer can produce only two goods? There is a very simple reason. Producer can produce only two goods because we have to present different combination on a diagram, right? And diagram have only two axes, X and Y axis. If suppose we have assumed that producer can produce three goods, sugarcane, wheat, and suppose onions, then we will present the value of sugarcane on the x-axis. We will indicate the values of wheat on the y-axis, where we will indicate the values of onions. We have no other axis except X and Y. So we have assumed that producer will be able to produce only two goods because there are only two axes available on the diagram. Is it clear to everyone? Steve, Samiksha, Mehjabi, please tell me if you guys have any doubt until now.
No.
Okay. Okay. Moving on with the next assumption. Next assumption is that resources are limited. This is, I already have told you that resources are limited. Land, labor, and capital or machinery that farmer is basically using or any producer is using is assumed to be limited. We assume that there is no possibility of increase in those resources. Whatever the amount of labor and machinery we have, we will assume that these are limited. Producer is not able to increase the quantity of these resources. And this is why when a producer wants to increase the production of one commodity, he have to sacrifice certain number of units of the other commodity, because we have limited amount of resource. So because we have limited resources, if we want to increase the production of sugarcane, we will have to sacrifice certain units of wheat. Correct? Now, third assumption is that technology is also assumed to be constant. We have also assumed that there is no technological changes happening in the market. There is no upgradation or outdation in the technology. Technology that basically producer is using will remain constant throughout the production. When we are designing various combination A, B, C, D, E, F, we will consider that there is no change in the technology being used by the producer. We will consider that producer is using the same type of technology. There is no outdation, there is no updation in the market in context of technology. Now, Fourth assumption, there are 5 assumptions. Number 1, first was producer can produce only 2 goods. Second was resources are assumed to be limited. Number 3, technology is assumed to be constant. Number 4, resources are fully and efficiently utilized. Whenever we draw production possibility curve, we always assume that producer using all of his resources. Producer is using all of his resources. We will always assume that producer will use all of his resources. Suppose producer is have 20 laborers, and suppose he have 10 machinery, 10 machines and 20 labor. So whenever we design different combination and whenever we draw production possibility curve, we will always assume that producer is using all of the resources available with him. You know why? Because we have already considered that production possibility curve must show the maximum capacity of the producer. Production possibility curve shows the maximum capacity of a producer, right? And production possibility curve can show the maximum capacity only if we assume that producer is applying all the resources. If producer is applying partially or using half of his resources, then production possibility curve will not be able to indicate the maximum capacity of the producer. Let me explain this on the notebook. See what I'm saying, that suppose producer have 2 resources. For the time being, we assume there are 2 resources only. There are 20 labors, and producer have total of 10 machines. These are the resources producer is having. And while drawing the production possibility curve, we are considering that out of the 20 labor, producer is only applying 10 labors, and out of the 20 machines, he is currently using only 5 machines. And considering this, we have made a production possibility curve. Suppose we have drawn this curve, and suppose this is a production possibility curve, and on this curve we are showing the production of wheat and sugarcane. See, what is the total amount of resources with the producer? He have 20 labor and 10 machines, but we have assumed he is currently using only 10 labors and 5 machines, and we have 50 tons of wheat and 20 tons of sugarcane. We are saying that if he uses 10 labors and 5 machines, then he will be able to produce 50 tons of wheat and 20 tons of sugarcane, considering that he is using only half of the resources. Achha, now we are drawing one more production possibility curve where we have assumed that he is using all of his labor and he is using all of his machines. He have 10 machines, right? And he draws the production possibility curve something like this. This production possibility curve indicate that he will be able to produce 100 tons of wheat and 40 tons of sugarcane. Suppose we have named these production possibility curve A and production possibility curve B. Please tell me which production possibility curve will show the maximum capacity of a producer. Production possibility curve A will indicate the 100% capacity of the producer, or combination B will indicate the maximum capacity of a producer? Please tell me. While drawing the PPC first A, we have assumed that producer is only using half of the available resources, and while drawing the combination B, we have assumed that producer using all of the available resources. So in which case production possibility curve will show the maximum capacity of the producer, in case of production possibility curve A or in case of production possibility curve B? Please tell me. In case of B. In case of B. Why so? In case of B, B will indicate the maximum capacity of a producer. You know why? Because while drawing the production possibility curve, B, we have assumed that producer is using all of the resources available with him. But on the other hand, while drawing the production possibility curve A, we have assumed that producer is applying only half of his resources. In this case, this will show the 50% capacity of the producer. This will indicate the 100% capacity of the producer. And as we know, production possibility curve indicate the 100% capacity of the producer. We have to assume that producer is applying all of the resources. If we assume otherwise, then production possibility curve will not represent the 100% capacity of the producer. Is it clear? All these four assumptions are clear to everyone. Number one, producer can produce only 2 goods, resources are limited. Number 3, technology remains constant. And number 4, resources are not fully and efficiently utilized. Please tell me, everyone, is it clear?
I just wanted to ask,
Yeah.
We are assuming this, right? Like we are having this assumption that, but this is not practical, right?
Yeah, this is not practical.
In the current, like in the present day. So, so that's how the case studies will come, like for these graphs.
I will tell you about the case studies. Don't worry about that. We will discuss what kind of case studies are asked in the exam. You don't worry. For the time being, you just focus on the basic concept, basic understanding of this particular topic. Don't worry about the what kind of case studies are asked in the question are asked in the exams.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So can we proceed? Anyone else want to ask any kind of question? Mehjabi, do you have any question? Mehjabi, are you there?
Yes.
Hello. Do you have any doubt, Mehjabi?
No.
Is it you are getting my point? Everything that I have explained here, you are able to understand everything or not?
Sir,
I'm not getting your voice properly. Okay, no problem. Let's move. We have one more assumption. We have one more assumption that number 1 and number 5th is resources not equally efficient. While drawing the production possibility curve, we will also assume that resources are not equally efficient. Equally efficient basically means every resource have the different ability. Say for example, if a producer is producing 2 commodities, laptop and a mobile phone, and currently producer is using all of his resources for the production of laptop only. He is basically he is allocating all the labors for the production of laptop only. But recently market trend changes, and now there is more demand of mobile phone in the market. Now producer wants to increase the production of mobile phone, so he asked labor to basically contribute in the production of mobile phones. Please tell me whether the labor will be equally efficient in the production of mobile phone as well. Equally efficient in the production of mobile phone as well, as he was capable, as much as he was efficient in the production of laptop. Answer is no. If we basically move the labor from the production of laptop to the production of mobile phone, his productivity or his efficiency will decline, because he was expert in the production of laptop. When he will be moved to the production of mobile phone, he will be less efficient, he will be less productive. You're getting my point? So basically what I want to say here is that resources are not equally, if we have assumed that while drawing the production possibility curve, resources are not equally efficient. If there is if suppose there are laborers who are engaged in the production of say for example, suppose they are producing pens, and as a factory owner, as a producer, I produces 2 kind of good, notebook and pen. Right now I am allocating all the labors for the production of pen only, but now I want to produce more of notebook also, and I ask my laborers to contribute for in the production of notebook as well. Please tell me whether same laborers will be more efficient in the production of notebook as well. Answer is no. Laborers will not be equally efficient in the production of notebook. Laborers have basically expertise in the production of pen, and when we shift the laborers from the production of pen to the production of notebook, the overall productivity will decline, his efficiency will decline, and now he will have to sacrifice more number of units, his sacrifice will increase. And due to this, because we have assumed that resources are not equally efficient, due to this factor, your marginal opportunity costs keep on increasing. As we move the labor from the production of rice to the wheat, more number of units needs to be sacrificed in order to increase the production of wheat. For increasing 1 unit of wheat, producer have to sacrifice more number of unit of rice, because this is happening because resources are not equally efficient. If resources are equal, resources basically means labors. So labors are moving from the production of rice to the wheat, and as the production of wheat increasing, producer have to sacrifice more number of goods every time, more rice every time. Initially he sacrificed only 1 for 1, then he's sacrificing 2 for 1, 3 for 1, 4 for 1, and 5 for 1. So every time marginal opportunity cost is increasing. Why? Because resources are not equally efficient. Resources are not equally efficient. So these are the 5. So these are the 5 assumptions. Number 1, producer can only produce 2 goods. Resources are limited. Technology remains constant. Resources are fully and efficiently utilized, and resources are not equally efficient. Is it clear, everyone? Is there any doubt? Samiksha, Steve, and Mehjabi?
No, sir, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay, so we will discuss one more topic, and then we will end this session. Next topic is characteristics of production possibility. There are 2 very basic, very simple characteristics of production possibility curve. Number one is production possibility curve is a downward sloping curve. Production possibility curve moves downward. Basically, it starts from, say, just a minute. Let me explain this on the notebook. See, we have made this combination. Sorry, we have made this diagram, and you can clearly see that we have made the first combination A here, then B, then C, then D, then E, and then F. And we have interconnected these combinations through a line, and you can clearly see that this line is moving from A to F, which means that production possibility curve move from left to right, move downward. Left to right move, basically production possibility curve move left to right, and it is a downward sloping curve. And why this happens, why production possibility curve is a downward sloping curve? Because in order to increase the production of one commodity, producer has to sacrifice some units of the other commodity. See here, suppose this is a combination A, and combination A is, for example, 10 units of Y and 0 units of X and Y. Suppose producer wants to increase the production of X commodity, then he will have to sacrifice some units of the Y commodity. So next combination will be something like this, combination B. And he wants to increase the production of X commodity again, then he will have to sacrifice certain number of units for the Y commodity again. This is combination C. So as he wants to increase the production of X good, he will have to sacrifice units of the Y good. Eventually production possibility curve will be a downward sloping curve like this. It will start from A point, move to A, B, C, D, and C, E, F, and so on. Right? So what is the reason of downward sloping curve? Reason of downward sloping curve is that if a producer wants to increase the production of one commodity, he have to sacrifice certain number of unit of the other commodity. So why he have to sacrifice some units of the other commodity? Because of the limited resources. And we have one more assumption. Next assumption is that second is production possibility curve is concave to the origin. Concave Why production possibility curve is concave? See, practically in microeconomics, there are basically 3 types of shapes in economics. See, basically, when you draw the diagram can be completely straight line. This is called linear diagram. This is called linear curve. Yeah, linear line B. You can also say that linear line, linear curve, and you can also call it. You can also form a diagram like this. This is called concave curve. And third variety of diagram is something like this. This is called convex. So there are primarily 3 shapes of diagram: linear, concave, and convex. If you look at the production possibility curve, please tell me what kind of shape it is. What kind of shape it is? Is it a convex shape? It is a linear shape, or it is a concave shape? Please tell me. It is a concave shape. Why it is concave shape? Because of increasing marginal opportunity cost. Marginal opportunity cost. See, if producer is sacrificing same amount of unit every time he wants to increase the production of one commodity, he have to sacrifice same quantity of the other commodity. If it is like this, then marginal opportunity cost will be 2:1, 2:1, 2:1, and 2:1, something like this. And if marginal opportunity cost remains constant throughout different combination, then we will have a linear diagram. You're getting my point? If marginal opportunity cost is 2:1, 2:1, or anything, 5:1, 5:1, 5:1, or 4:1, 4:1, 4:1, anything like this, then we will have a linear diagram. And because marginal opportunity cost is continuously increases 1:1, 2:1, 3:1, 4:1, and 5:1, it keeps on increasing like this. Therefore, we have a concave shape diagram, right? What happens if marginal opportunity costs keep on declining? Suppose we have marginal opportunity cost something like 5:1, 4:1, 3:1, 2:1, and 1:1. In that case, we have a convex shape marginal convex shape production possibility curve. So basically because our marginal opportunity cost goes on increasing, we have already assumed that resources are not equally efficient. Because resources are not equally efficient, which means that producer will have to sacrifice more number of units every time he wants to increase the production of the other commodity by 1 unit. If he wants to increase the production of one commodity by 1 unit, he will have to sacrifice more number of units every time. And if he sacrifices more number of units every time, then he will have the increasing marginal opportunity cost. And if marginal opportunity cost increases, we will have a concave shape diagram. What happens if marginal opportunity cost remains constant? It will have a linear curve. What happens if marginal opportunity cost start declining? We will have a convex shape production possibility curve. But please remember that a production possibility curve can never be linear, can never be convex to the origin. It will always be concave, because marginal opportunity cost can never be constant, can never decline. Neither marginal opportunity cost decreases nor it remains constant. It will basically increases continuously. If it starts from 1:1, it will go like 2:1, 3:1, 4:1, 5:1, like this. And eventually concave production possibility curve will always be a concave shape curve. Is it clear? Everyone, please tell me, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, just a minute. So we are finishing the session. Just read these characteristics properly. Number 1, we have covered it is a downward sloping curve. What does this downward sloping curve basically means? As the producer wants to increase the production of one good, he will have to sacrifice units of the other good, owing to the limitation of resources, as a consequence of which PPC is downward sloping curve, right? And why production possibility curve is concave to the origin? We have also explained this particular point. Production possibility curve is concave to the origin because of increasing marginal opportunity cost, which means that producer have to sacrifice more and more units of one good when he wants to produce additional unit of the other good. This happens due to assumption that resources are not equally efficient. If resources tends to be equally efficient, this basically means that producer have to sacrifice same quantity of commodity every time. Then marginal opportunity cost would have been constant, 4:1, 4:1, 4:1, and something like this. Okay, so in today's session we were studying the first chapter of microeconomics, and in this session we have covered the basic concept of production possibility curve. And in this session I have taught you what is the meaning of production possibility curve. Here I have told you that production possibility curve is basically a diagram. It is basically a graph that shows different combination of two commodities that a producer will be able to produce using his available resources and technology. Then we have also understood various different names of production possibility curve. We have covered that production possibility curve is also known as production possibility boundary, transformation curve, and production possibility frontier. Then I have also told you that production possibility curve shows the maximum capacity of a producer, and a producer cannot operate beyond the PPC. And then we have covered this table. This is called production possibility schedule. And we have also learned to make the diagram. This is called production possibility curve. Okay, then we have covered the attainable and unattainable combinations. And after that we have covered 5 assumptions of production possibility curve. And finally, at last, we have discussed the various characteristics of production possibility curve, where I have told you that there are 2 characteristics. Number 1, that it is a downward sloping curve. Number 2, that it is basically concave to the origin. So we are ending this session now, and just wanted to ask, is everything clear? Is there anything that you want to ask? Mehjabi, Samiksha, and Steve, please let me know. I will share the slide with you. I will ask someone to share this slide with you so that you can self-study this entire concept. So before finishing the session, please tell me anything that you want to ask. Mehjabi, Samiksha, or Steve, is everything clear?
Yeah, everything's clear.
Okay, Steve.
Yes, sir. Everything's clear, sir.
Okay. So thank you very much. See you in the next class. Till then, take care. Goodbye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.